Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good night, everyone. My name is Adam Cortes Davis, and my number is 2310731014. Today, I'm going to present the material about language acquisitions. Language acquisition. So, first of all, I would like to apologize to all my viewers because I'm not actually feeling that well. I have a cold, so I really apologize if I start to make this in the middle of my presentation. All right, let's go on. So, language acquisition. Language acquisition means how humans acquire their first ever language, how they are introduced to a language. So, normally, when humans are first born, so normally a baby in their first 2 or 3 years will get introduced to a language depending on where they are born. So, for example, if they were born in Indonesia, they are going to develop or get introduced by Indonesian language. So let's say English. So they were born in England, so they are going to get introduced by English. And normally the people that introduce the baby are their parents, or it could be their older siblings, or wherever the baby was born. And normally the baby doesn't start to respond or say a word in their first 12 to 18 months. So that's normally the span of a baby to start speaking their first ever word. But normally a baby in their first 12 or 18 months would speak one singular word. So for example, like they would only say like chocolate or milk or cereal, whatever the baby hears hears on repetition. So normally in the first year, the surrounding people or their parents or wherever would give a repetition to the baby in a simple structured sentence so the baby could understand it. So in the first 12 to 18 months, the baby would start to say singular words like chocolate or milk or cereal or mommy or daddy. That's the most common, right? Then fast forward, depending on the baby, of course, normally in the lifespan of 18 to 20 months, the baby would start to combine the singular words because the baby has more vocabulary. So they would start to combine it like bad cat or mommy eat or cereal good. So they would start to combine these words that they've learned. All right. And then fast forward, depending on the baby, of course, but normally it's between 20 to 2 years or 2.5 years. The baby would start to 20 to 24 months. The baby would start to go to a multiple word speech, so they could combine multiple words, not only 2 words anymore, depending on the baby, of course. So normally they would start to say like daddy go bye bye or something like that. So they would start to combine all these words because their vocabulary is getting increased by their environment or whoever, by their parents, siblings, or maybe many other things that can impact the baby's vocabulary. So then the question arises, how does this baby actually combine or understand a language? Many people would think that the babies could speak that because their parents or whoever teaches the baby. But in reality, it doesn't really work like that, because if you teach a baby, that means the baby has to study it theoretically. But what the baby actually does is because the vocabulary is just by them listening to their environment through repetition. So once they know this vocabulary, they start to combine these words and see whether people use it that way or not. So basically, it depends on their environment, and they don't really teach the baby. The baby just learns themselves. The parents might try to teach it, but it doesn't really work because the baby has to listen to what people pronounce or what people say, right? All right, so fast forward. after this multiple word speech phase of the baby, I'm sorry, then after the baby is 2 or 2.5 years old, they are past this phase because they already know many vocabularies. And then the babies would start to know more about morphology. So like they would understand about plural concepts. So like cats or dogs or boys or girls. Or they would start to understand how to use to be. For example, mommy, is there a cat there? So they start to use is. Or mommy, are you home? So they start to use are or am. You know, they start the use of to be. And then after that, they might use past tense like played or cooked or ate. So it depends on the baby, of course, but most babies range from that years to 2 and 2.5 years old. I'm sorry, guys. Then, past the range of 2 and 2.5 years old, the baby would start to learn way more, like negatives. I don't like that. Or they would know how to make a sentence, like syntax, so they would understand about syntax. And that's not by the parents teaching. That's just like the process of what I said is like how the babies listen to their surroundings and understand. But I think by the point of 2.5 years old is not called baby. So the child, that they would know how to make a question, a proper question. There are many more and then after that they start to learn it in school. So that's it, guys, for my material. I'm really sorry because I'm not really feeling that well, and thank you guys. Good night. Bye bye.